We're here at Ag in Motion. Mitchell, tell us a little bit about some of the research projects that you have going on at SaskBarley, and we'll start with, I guess, the Barley Lodging issue that you were researching.
Yeah, so the Barley Lodging project, it's an interesting one. I like it at the simplest level just because of the name. It's Barley Lodging, getting to the root of the problem, and it's not just the name that makes it a good project, but I love the ingenuity of the researchers to come up with a catchy name, a catchy title for the project to really help to connect what the purpose of the research that they're doing is a fairly basic fundamental research that can help plant breeders develop barley that has better resistance to lodging. And so one of the key issues in barley production is lodging, and lodging can be broken down into stem lodging and root lodging. And so stem lodging is where we see the breakage in the stem and it folds over and is either difficult to harvest or impossible. And so it's lost yield, lost quality, the major issues for producers. And we want to make investments in improving lodging management, and so that can be done with genetics, can be done with agronomics. This project is on genetics, and it's focusing on root lodging. So root lodging is when the entire plant falls over, and so this anchorage of it in the soil is just not sufficient to withstand either the weight of the heads, the winds that are hitting that plant when those heads are filling and they're heavy, or when they're full later in the growing season, and it still results in loss. And what the challenges breeders face is they're out doing lodging ratings, but if we look back over the last number of years, 2021 was obviously widespread drought, but really we've been drier bias since about 2017, and so people in the really dry areas know that very well, but we just haven't seen the lodging pressure. And so for breeders who are observing phenotypic traits, so what they see in the field, that lodging hasn't been present, and so it's hard to make good ratings on it. So we're seeing varieties come out where we may not have a good understanding of what the level of lodging resistance is. And so this project, looking at root lodging, is they're looking at growing roots in different ways. So they've done multiple different ways, growing in little pouches. They're forced into two-dimensional planes so they can make a good assessment of the root structure and get a digital image of it to be able to make comparisons from one line to another. And they're doing 3D to make sure that what they see on a 2D level is relevant. And so what they're doing is coming up with a very rapid way, fairly low cost for breeders to be able to take that knowledge that developed through the project, and breeders can use that as a tool to measure lines early on in selection, before it would ever be on wide scale production, before they're testing across a wide range of areas, or if the lodging pressure like the last few years just isn't there. And they can get an assessment of whether a variety is likely to have good resistance to lodging or not.
How far along is it?
So the project itself is nearing completion. I think they have a year or so left of the project. I don't have my notes right in front of me, but they've been at it for a few years, and they're making really good progress. They're evaluating both existing germplasm, so varieties that we're familiar with, as well as some of the lines that the breeders are working with, and to see what the root structure is that correlates to a higher level of lodging resistance.
Mitchell, anything you wanted to add that I haven't asked you?
Well, it's a fun project to watch because the researchers are really invested into the project. They're seeing the value of what they're doing, and it's been interesting to talk to. So we don't have it ready to go yet, but watch the Barley Bin podcast for one to launch here with more information on the root lodging project.